Alrighty guys, welcome back. We're going to look at these. Pinguicula, it's the Mexican Butterwort. This plant is my original plant. Look at how small the pot is. I think it's a 2.5, maybe a 3-inch pot. It's been there for about a year. I bought this as a single plant. Is it going to focus? I can't see whether it's focusing or not. Anyway, it's doing fantastic. It is doing wonderful. As I picked it up, I noticed, as you could probably see, there are a lot of dead leaves down at the bottom. So we're going to clean it up. And it's wintertime. So as you can see here, let's pull it back here. It's got its winter leaves. The winter leaves are much more succulent, a little bit smaller. Still quite beautiful. How many rosettes are in here? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perhaps 6 different plants in this pot. Sorry, I went off camera. I had to count them. I could have just counted them like this, I suppose. But anyway, what we're going to do today, first we're going to clean up this plant, and then we're going to take some cuttings. Carnivorous plants like these are really, really easy to grow from leaf pullings. So let's take a second. We're going to clean this up, and then we're going to pull some leaves and plant them up. So also, what you'll need to know, I've got my soil already mixed with some perlite and some peat moss. We did that in another video. I've just got some leftover soil. So I actually did 3 parts of peat moss and 1 part perlite. And again, make sure that your soil that you're using does not have any fertilizer added. That is a must for carnivorous plants. And also when you're watering, make sure to use rainwater. I use melted snow because it's a wintertime. Rainwater, distilled water, or in the summertime, I use the water that comes from my air conditioner. A lot of you might be able to use that option. I know that sometimes it's hard to find water that you can use for carnivorous plants. Everybody says, no, don't use that. There's too much of this in there. There's too much of that in there. You know what? They're plants. They live in the wild. How much... What am I trying to say? There's got to be something in the soil, right? It can't be without anything. There's going to be decay... Wow, can I talk? There's going to be decaying plant matter in the soil, composting, doing its thing. It can't be that far off. Just as long as you don't have a lot of fertilizers and whatnot, you should be okay. But just do your best to avoid things with high salt contents, high mineral contents. I've had people say don't use well water. Well, if you can't use water from the ground, then what kind of water can you use? Because that's kind of rainwater. But it depends on your area, right? So some people have a lot of copper in their water. Some people have a lot of iron in their water. Just be aware of what's around you. So carnivorous plants can be difficult, or they can be really, really easy, depending on how you want to look at it. So anyway, let's get a little bit closer, and let's take some cuttings. Pullings, whatever you want to call them. Okay, as you can see, we've got the soil mix here. It's pre-moistened. The last video I did, we made this soil up and we put some water in it, and it is perfect. Peat moss is moistened just enough. Actually, I could probably moisten it a little bit more. With cuttings, you want to make sure that the again, this is from the snow. With cuttings, you want to make sure that it's more moist than if the plant has roots. In the wintertime, if you're doing this, it's their dormant period. And this is actually the best time to take cuttings of your carnivorous plants. Okay, we're well mixed here now. Now my hands are all dirty. I am a gardener at this point. Ray, if you're watching, not everything is clean. I do have dirty hands. I've got this lovely mat that takes away a lot of the mess. I know that you've mentioned in the past that I've got a really clean workstation, and you don't know how I'm able to do it, because it's like a disaster area after you work. Still's the same here, but I work cautiously. So I'm just taking all the dead leaves out from underneath this plant just to clean it up, give it some breathing room. In another video, I guess we will we'll take this plant and maybe separate it into multiple plants. I've had a couple of people, family members actually, that watch my videos. It's so awkward when family members watch your videos. And they were saying that these butterworts would be something that they would be really interested in having, because they have a problem with fungus gnats like we all do. And she was saying, where can I find one? I said, in the springtime, I will send you one. She lives in Canada, so makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to do some leaf cuttings for her. And yeah, you can't have too many of these. I'm going to experiment with them as well. I'm going to try them in different environments. I will grow them with some of my houseplants at some point. I just didn't want to do that with my only one, because if it ended up dying, I would be really upset. But if I have 15, I can experiment and have fun and see what works and what doesn't work, how they respond to different environments. So what we're going to do, we're all cleaned up, as you can see. Underside of the plant is looking pretty nice. Got rid of a lot of the yucky leaves. Some of them I can't get rid of because they're so crammed together. Wow, there's a lot in there. They're so close together. Alright, anyway. We got these small little pots. These are 2-inch square pots. Just going to fill them up with soil. Pack them down. Make sure there's a little bit of space at the top of the pot. Not an exact science. Whatever works best for you. This works for me. Okay. And I also have a Ziploc bag. I will be putting the cuttings into a Ziploc bag when I'm done. And then I'm going to end up putting them in a morning sun location. What we gonna do, I'm gonna actually remove this plant from the pot. Let me do it this way so that you can see. It's so tight in there, I have to really play with the soil here. Oh, they use sphagnum moss, interesting. So now that I don't have the pot in the way, I'm able to get in there closer to the plant and remove some leaves. You want to get healthy leaves. Just removing some of the older leaves. The plant will respond better with those gone. It'll probably promote a lot more new growth. Don't be afraid to prune your plants. I had a friend once that I used to be proud of my plants, and then she, whenever I took my plants over that I were proud of, she would immediately run and grab her scissors and start hacking at them, and I almost cried every time. But within weeks of her doing it, the plant was phenomenal. So what we want to do, we want to get in close to the plant. Let me see if I can get in closer. And these will break off right at the base. They'll just snap right off. So I have 3 pots. Let's do 3 cuttings per pot. So there's 2, there's 3, that's for 1 pot. I don't know whether you can hear that little pop. 2, 3, and we need 3 more. 1, 2. I can feel the slime on the plants. And 1 more. 3. Just going to pot this back up. And we'll see how this grows. This is this is looking really, really good. It looks a little less good now because I've taken a lot of leaves off. But we'll see it grow. I'll show you updates on this, as you know. So now I've got all kinds of dirty leaves here. Let's push them off the back. So what we're going to do I have a stick around here? Here's a stick right here. It's like 8 feet long, but this will do. I just want to poke a couple of small little holes in the soil. Why am I doing that? Because these are brittle. And if I force them into the soil, I might break them. So I'm just setting them into the little hole. They're not very deep at all, and I'm leaning the leaf against the edge, kind of like you're doing an African violet cutting. African violets. I don't even know why I'm using that reference because I am so bad at growing them, but you guys seem to be really, really good at growing them. So it's very similar. You don't want to have the cutting too deep. My big pencil here. Just making some holes. Here we go. You want to make sure that the leaf is facing up. You don't want to have the leaf facing backwards. You don't want to plant them in like that, because what's that going to do? Your leaf won't know what way is up, and it will probably end up rotting. So, and again, when we put these in the window, you want to have them in a warm spot. You don't want to have them in a cool place. Warm spot will promote nice growth, root development. If you have a heating pad or a heat mat, use one of those. We're going to keep them in a Ziploc bag. That'll keep the humidity up, but you need to keep some warmth. You don't want it to be too hot that they cook, but you want to have them just nice. Okay, now we got 3 pots going on. Fantastic. Now, ooh, here we go. I've got this fantastic water bottle with this wonderful spout. Just going to water them in. Watering them in just gives them good contact with the soil. If there was any air pockets in there, there is no longer air pockets. And that's what you want. The baby roots, if there's an air pocket in there, will dry up, and you don't want that. So we're going to pop these into the Ziploc bag. Being careful not to kink them in there. We just want them resting nicely. There we go. Oh, this one came out. Just pop them back in the soil. No harm, no foul. I'm just going to water them in again because I had some mishaps. There we go. And we'll... I really didn't do anything. Let me put some air in this bag now. I got hot air with a lot of condensation. So like I said, I'm going to put this in a window that has morning sun. I don't want it to be too hot, or otherwise it'll cook them. If the humidity looks like it's getting too high, I will open the bag a little bit to release some of the humidity. But these plants enjoy humidity, so we'll come back to this and we'll check it out maybe in 2 or 3 weeks and see what's happening. I think the last time I did it, it took them about 2 months before I started to see anything. So maybe it will be 2 months. But I'll definitely do an update video when I start to see sprouting. So anyway, stay tuned. And if you're doing cuttings of your carnivorous plants, I'd love to see how you do it. Everybody has their own method, and likely it works as well. But this is how I did it, and I had a lot of success with it. So this is what I'm showing you. So anyway, happy growing, everyone, and keep me posted. It like this for the last couple of weeks, and surprisingly, it is still alive. So it just goes to show that plants really are very tolerant of neglect.